So, Volt Systems in my last friends list, it was a running gag that it was easy to get. We heard it on NPR one day, and they were like, "Yeah, Volt Prime, it's easy to get. Why don't you just hop on the Warframe and get that
Oh yeah,
for
it's a
you real
great
quick
episode
this
of Radio
Saturday?"
Lab.
Yeah.
Episode on Volt Prime and its long legacy of being easy to get.
Yep.
It's got a 7% drop rate. That's pretty bad. So, I wanted to, seeing as you guys mentioned the episode on NPR, did you guys ever hear about the, this is probably on Reddit, like,
yes, the episode on NPR that definitely is real.
No, it was the, I know you were joking, but it reminded me of, like, a real episode of, it was the two guys that would, like, talk about cars and like
Car talk.
Yeah, it was car talk.
Click and clack. The Tapper
Yeah,
Brothers.
something like that.
I watched it.
But,
I mean, listen to it.
No, you watched it. You stared at that progress bar for hours.
I only remember the name, so I can't tell you if that's it or not because I never listened to them. But there was an episode back in I don't even know how like recently this was, but the shuttle was like going up in like the space shuttle was, I believe, going up into space at the time, and they called Car Talk and like talked about having like a government issue vehicle, and it's like all shuttery and stuff, and then it stops and turns off completely, and it took them a solid like 3 minutes to figure out that, by the way, they're talking about a literal spaceship here and not like a car. And I thought that was actually like one of the classiest things ever.
That's cool. I'm gonna have to find that in their archives.
Yeah,
I don't think I've actually listened to any part of NPR besides Radio Lab.
I actually used to listen to NPR a lot back when I worked at Nickelodeon because I needed something to keep me sane. And then I started doing YouTube, and then I just, started, digesting YouTube type content and stuff. But it was, NPR is like actually really solid stuff if you want to learn things. But fuck systems. Don't care. Wrong one.
I remember hearing Bernie Burns like jokingly complain about it because he counted as like because he's a podcaster, so they counted it as like how their tax money is funding their competition. Because like the top,
I mean, it's true.
A lot of the top podcasts on iTunes are all NPR.
Raid this ship for
Yeah.
intel. We need to know everything they do.
Makes sense. I've not listened to a podcast in a while. Probably should.
I still listen to a lot of them.
I haven't had time. All of my free time, now that my voice is going, and like after beating Second Dream, I didn't want to play Warframe for a while.
Did you have a bad time playing it?
No, it was fun. It's just it was kind of the satisfaction of like, yeah, I more or less beat this game. Let's put it down for a little while. I was kind of sick of grinding with Inaros because I did Inaros immediately after, and I was just like, this was a painful experience, and I just kind of need a break. So I've been writing on my own, because
I think I got somebody offering to just give me Volt Prime systems.
You know what? If they're willing to give it to you, take it. That way we can do other things with our life.
This is a weird. I found out that you can infinitely slide if you slide into the weird, floating like candle boats.
It's like martial artsy moves.
Oh whoa!
Yeah.
I've had like capybara techniques this whole time, and no one told me.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the true experience of this game. I don't have to play anything else ever again.
I mean, look, if you really want to be a capybara, you can, but we're still going to judge you for it. Just give him like an ammo drum.
Yeah.
That's kind of what the the everybody is used to, just getting an ammo drum for
he
things.
gets a fusion core.
Ooh, that's actually like a good thing. Generous person.
Respond. There we go. I did it all on my own. Like a.
You did it. Now you can go poop yourself and not have to worry about it.
I found the gesture menu too. This has been a learning experience.
Yeah. And we don't have to run T2 Exterminate
and get weirdly
anymore.
dancy about everything. Shit, he just wants to handshake. Do I have handshake?
Yeah, handshake should be on your bar. I think on the right side.
I
Only if he
disagree.
has to do it.
Narta, meditate, wave, boast, follow, bow, agree.
Handshake is not equipped by default. You have to do
It isn't?
It's not.
No.
Shit.
I guess you should do
Video games are complicated.
You send that wave at him.
Video games are so complicated. How do I... No.
Turns out you have to be a rude asshole to the guy. Congrats.
There's so many menus in this game. Is it even in one of these menus? This is connect.
No, if handshake you have to equip, like equipment equip.
Oh, what the fuck? Why?
You know what?
Because video
Because
games.
I think they want to sell you more emotes, but they haven't done it yet. Because they've got 1,000 other things they want to make to sell you. Like hairstyles
mainly-
for your Tenno.
I think it's mainly because handshake was added
Holy
later than
shit.
the 8 first emotes that you got.
I'm sorry, we just both meditated in perfect sync and it freaked me out. Because there was nothing initiating that, and we both just started floating in front of each other. The frames of the animation were synced up. And there was no prompting it. Now interlock. I want to see
I
some
just
space.
feel like
I want to see some ship coitus.
uh
Everyone just fly towards the weird crab monster. There's so many sockets.
just kind of makes this like bad dropsy style mushing sound.
This just got weird.
Keith, did you play any of Dropsy?
No, I have no idea. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's like an
I'm just
adventure
thinking about a
game,
Plinket
kind
joke.
of like
An artifact
It's like a
located
Machinarium
proceed
style,
to the dig
but
site.
it's about this clown with these like suspiciously like jelly-like appendages.
It's got to
And,
be
like, the creepy
Machinarium,
ass
right?
face.
Because machines.
Maybe. I was thinking like Deus Ex Machina, because it's not Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah,
If that
but
makes
none of
sense.
that. I don't think any part of Deus Ex Machina refers to a machine, though.
Excavator deployed.
God in the Machine.
Is that really what it means? Oh
Yes, that is the literal translation.
crap! I knew what it meant, but not the translation necessarily. Yeah, I guess that works then, as another way of doing it.
Yeah.
They're all equally wrong. Yay!
I also like Machina as just like a word.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy X kind of ruined me there, but Machina sounds way more fun than Machina or
Materia.
machines or Materia. I always thought it was Materia.
It's
Even though it
materia
probably is
because they
materia.
pronounce it that way in Advent Children.
I honestly don't remember a word anybody said in that movie.
There's not a lot of words in that movie.
Yeah, I know.
Kadaj, 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 Kadaj.
I
Cloud.
just remember the hoodwinking of the wheelchair guy turns out not to be
a kung fu
wheelchair
master.
bound. Yeah, that was pretty funny.
The scanner has picked out the target.
That was the ultimate fan service movie of just every single character had to have some absurd scene happen, and none of it had to really have real motivation or reasons behind it. Just
Yeah.
make it happen.
You're-
We're gonna go back to that church from the game, and Tifa's
If
gonna
you
fight
played
somebody,
any of
and they're gonna play
if
the
you
song.
played any of Dirge of Cerberus, you'd actually find out that they more or less just aped a lot of the like really cool battle cutscenes from there.
No, I've never played it. I
Yeah.
haven't played much of any Final Fantasy VII.
I had a
Period.
friend just be like, "You need to." I'm waiting for the remake at this
Yeah,
point because
at this point, I'm kind of looking forward to being the asshole who plays Final Fantasy VII's remake without knowing what the original one was like, and is just taking the
played
game
half
as
of it.
its own thing instead of reacting to it how it compares. Because
I
so many
got
people are going to be
frustrated-
there to talk about how it's better or
Oh,
worse
yeah.
than the original. But I'll just be like, hey, this is nice.
I remember I was there for some of the best parts of Final Fantasy VII, like the cross-dressing scene. I really hope that makes it into the remake.
There's a cool breakdown here if anyone needs it.
Oh, nice.
I played 7 until you leave the city.
Yeah, I got a little bit further. I got the Chocobo. I got really frustrated because of that one boss fight where he would like freeze your guys and you'd have to attack them, but it wasn't explicitly obvious. So I just lost because all my dudes were in dumb like freezy prisms. I didn't enjoy that. That felt like dumb game design to me. And then it turns out, no, that was actually good game design, just unclear.
I was just on a laptop playing the PC version that people barely know exists from several years ago, and I beat the intro town area and got to like the part where you're in the open world and there's like a sandworm and stuff. I just kind of I just put it down and never felt like going back to it for some reason.
I got to that point with the Chocobo. Well, the problem is, like, if you've already played, like, practically any of the other Final Fantasies that came after, you're like, yeah, this is kind of boring.
Has 7 become retroactively derivative because of other Square Enix games?
Yes.
Obviously not literally derivative, but, like, you can't, like, is it not possible for it to feel fresh anymore? I genuinely don't know.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, the only interesting thing that comes to mind is just the fact that game has you basically playing as a terrorist at the beginning.
I mean, it definitely had probably one of the more interesting plot lines. I'm gonna be honest, Final Fantasy VIII, terrible plot line, hated it. Could not get into it at all.
Complete. Look what we found.
That is the definition of bad time travel plot cooked into a very confusing story.
For whatever reason, I never latched on to 7, having like, I went to it because I started with 10 and got really into that. And then everyone said 7 was the best one, so I was like, let's try 7, and it just didn't grab me.
I mean, personally, I actually liked 6 the best. I thought 6 was fabulous.
That's the one that a lot of purists go to when they point at the new person as ruining Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised about that.
Because people view the guy that made 7 and on as being like the Stephen Moffat of Final Fantasy. Like, they made the new version that's really popular, but also supposedly ruined it if you liked certain things about the old version.
I guess. I really want them to go back and make a 2D Final Fantasy again. Like, but with, like, even higher fidelity art. Because 6 was, like, pretty gorgeous, but they've only done, like, kind of cartoony remakes. And I want, like, a...
You want it to have, look like a Final Fantasy game in 3D. Like the proper new ones, instead of looking like Evoland.
But I don't want it to look like them in 3D. I want it like...
you want new sprite work.
Yeah. Yeah, I want them to make like a really hi-fi sprite work Final Fantasy again. Like truly back to what it was. Just for once. Just because like that was such like... I honestly don't know of any games with better pixel art, like straight up, than Final Fantasy 6. I'm trying to think of them, and they're very few and far between.
You're talking about you're talking about only games that have the limitation of having to do pixel art, right?
Yeah.
Because nowadays,
I'm not talking about like
nowadays video games cheat and just do stuff that couldn't happen back then.
And that's kind of why I want them to do it, because there's so many things that have happened since. That they could make like the most wonderful looking pixel art game.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't know if you've seen any of the
the number one contribution of Hyperlight Drifter was just having a mind-blowing intro scene of like, wow, pixel art can be amazing.
Absolutely. Like imagine if like you had that high of quality. But
yeah, you end up wanting
like,
to watch the Hyperlight Drifter Saturday morning cartoon instead of playing the game.
Yeah.
Because it looks like this amazing sci-fi epic that never happened.
Yeah. There was a lot in there that I definitely did not get, sadly. You know what? Actually, that's it. The most interesting part about Hyperlight Drifter was the stuff that happened before the game started.
Yeah.
Excavator deployed. Protect
It wasn't the most original gameplay, and it kind of... The more you play it, the more certain parts of it kind of came apart at the seams, to an extent.
Go to the dig site.
Yeah.
So like, it's one of those things where like you can be like, oh yeah, that's a neat game, but it doesn't have like lasting appeal. You're like 3 years from now, we're gonna be like, oh man, let's go back and get Hyperlight Drifter. That was fantastic. It's such stopping power.
It was not what I was looking for in a game at all. It was too much like hidden object, and I was expecting a lot more like world exploration, like deep story. Like apocalypse is happening.
I put it there with Salt and Sanctuary, basically, as these games that are like just flawed enough that we're gonna probably forget about them.
Yep. I enjoyed Salt and Sanctuary enough, but it definitely wasn't like good enough to quite make it up there.
There's just a lot of the boss fights are just kind of nothing. Like you forget they exist. And like when you're doing your second playthrough, you're like, crap, what bosses do I have to get? Like I can't remember them. Whereas, like, you
Keith,
played Dark
do you
Souls
have-
3 and you remember all of the bosses and you gotta go find, and you know where to get them and everything.
I actually, the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm finding Dark Souls 3 to be weirdly unmemorable.
Didn't you not play through it? Because that would help.
We've played through all of Dark Souls 3.
That not
But in
really
co-op?
though. We co-oped
like-
through Dark Souls 3, which is like speed running half of it in many cases.
Yeah,
Like
but
there's
like
entire
I
chunks
also...
of the game you've never had to explore in any
It's
real
true.
capacity. And like
This
entire
is a good
sections
point.
you've
I-
never seen with your own eyes.
I haven't, like, really gone deep. Mainly it's into Yorm the Giants. His is the only one I haven't fully explored. I actually explored stuff in the co-op series, like, off-camera, between streams.
So have you been to the
Because why
giant
not?
bird cage in the rafters of the Grand Archives?
Yeah.
Excavator is
Trying to
ready
think of what
go.
some of the other weird
Keep it
ones.
powered and protected from enemy fire.
Like, it was neat and it was interesting, but for the most part, a lot of it was...
Proceed to the dig site.
You do immediately know what I'm talking about, though. As opposed to
Yeah.
like the
The
like.
excavator has run out of
Do you
power.
remember the
Find
shortcut
cell.
that takes you out of Hagger's Cavern?
Oh, for Assault and Sanctuary. Yeah, that is the one problem with, like, 2D, though. It is really hard to get cinematic.
Or even,
especially
or
for a
even to
platformer.
recognize something visually at all, in any capacity, really. Like
Actually, no. You can totally get cinematic with a 2D platformer. Have you played
way
any
in-
of Ori and the Blind Forest?
no, but I saw glimpses of you guys doing it. I tried to ignore it because I want to play it myself.
Excavator deployed.
It's so good.
Protect the unit from
But like, yeah, like Salt and
Honestly,
Sanctuary had
I
an
would-
issue where
I
you
would
would
play through
unlock
that
a
game a
shortcut
second.
to a previous zone and come out of that door in the previous zone and be like, wait, where am I?
Why?
Whereas every time,
Most of it for me was like, why? Because it
Oh,
never
yeah.
felt useful.
like they were making stuff more interconnected, but not for a reason that seemed to matter.
Yeah,
Like, the
because you
first
already
zone
had
of-
so many checkpoints that you could literally teleport between, so it's just like,
Yeah.
I
Like
mean, I guess.
the very first zone of Salt and Sanctuary, the banquet, actually does shortcuts right because it'll be like you kick down a ladder that takes you back to the front door of the building and stuff like that. But for the rest of the game, it's like there's a weird cavern connecting the pyramid to the cavern now for reasons. You're gonna forget about this immediately and never use it.
Look what we just
Yeah.
uncovered.
Whereas in Dark Souls 3, every time you open a shortcut, you're like, oh, thank God, I know exactly where this goes back to, and this is gonna be so useful for when I fuck up and die in 3 seconds, or when
Yeah.
Bird runs out of Estus.
I will say, Salt and Sanctuary was too dark for its own good.
It was too monochromatic.
Yeah, too dark, too muddy.
It was more monochromatic than a Souls game, but in a game where color was one of the primary things that could have helped you tell what you were doing and where you were.
Yeah, what you were doing, who to kill, everything like that. Like, I actually liked a lot of it. Like, the different areas had kind of interesting themes to go with them. Like, I really liked Hagger's Cavern, and I was really surprised that it was optional, because it felt totally non-optional for me.
To
And
be
it just
fair,
surprised-
in Salt and Sanctuary, like, I think half the bosses are optional technically. because
Yeah,
of
it's
how much
true.
you can sequence break the entire game. Like I didn't even I took out the pyramid
Scanner has picked up
and
target.
like I think I took out third lamb before I ever even encountered like Tree of Man. Like you could just go in whatever the hell order you felt like for a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
It got weird at times.
Excavation
Have we gotten a
complete.
single Neurode yet?
We found.
We got one.
One. Yeah,
So,
you know, I would add to your conversation, but I have no idea what you're talking about.
It happens.
what games do you play? I know you play Ark, and I know you play Warframe. What else do you play?
Let's see. Those are the recent ones.
Deployed. Protect the unit and extract the
Before
gunpowder.
that, I'd have to look at my Steam list, but I play a lot of racing games. I played a bunch of Rocket League because that was like a hybrid of my skills. And
Yeah. We tried Rocket League, and I wanted to go back to it, but we could never... that was like the period where we only had access to 3 people.
I'm afraid that now that time's passed that I won't be able to even remotely play.
Yeah, I'd only want to play with... I'd only want to play Rocket League with people that have never played Rocket League,
Oh yeah.
just so I'd actually have like a chance. It's kind of why I don't want to play the culling, because I don't want to play the culling against people that play the culling all the time.
Oh yeah.
Because you know, in a game like the
That was
culling,
the concerning thing when someone was
have...
asking me to play depth. Was the idea of like, oh, I'm gonna play a shark game with experienced shark game players.
I mean, you should play depth with us because it's a great party game.
Yeah. I need a copy of that game. The problem is it's horrifyingly expensive for what it is.
It's way too expensive.
For a game you probably plan on playing for like an hour and maybe forgetting about forever, it's like $25.
I think everybody has depth except for you, including crafty gnomes and TLE. Humorously enough, from like our usual crew.
Those aren't even the real people anymore.
I know.
We lost them in the war.
Excavator is ready to go. Keep it powered and protect.
Yeah, they died. So dead. Most people don't even remember them from my channel. Like, Crafty Gnomes has been dead since I had 1,000 subscribers. I think something like that. Maybe a little bit more.
Yep. I crushed his will by telling him he was garbage.
32,000 people.
I kept telling him he was bad until he quit.
I mean,
more or less accurate. It wasn't the intention. I was telling him what was wrong so he could fix it, but instead he fixed it by moving on with his life.
Happens.
I played a lot of Kerbal Space Program as well before I started YouTube.
I want to play that now that I've done Scrap Mechanic and have done like weird dumb sandbox things.
Yeah, now that I've learned how to edit, I think I can do a much better series than the one I attempted.
Is that like the thing you're like super addicted to that you've never done on YouTube?
Yeah. Man, I played 1,500 hours in the game.
I think everyone's got their pocket addiction that they've never covered on their channel before, for one reason or another. Usually because it's intimidating.
It took 1/5 of my graphics card's capacitor life. I mean, 1,500 hours. Normally, a graphics card will last about 6,000 hours. You know, before the capacitors go out.
My poor graphics card.
Yeah.
Probably already dead.
R.I.P. I have them buried over here. They played Kerbal Space Program. It is so relaxing, and you get to feel the depth and vastness of space.
And then stay there.
Right.
Everything goes horribly wrong.
I just want to play it in co-op with like Bird and somebody else that doesn't know what's going on, so it's just like the worst travesty you could possibly throw into space.
It is rumored
like
they're working on co-op.
Well, there's a co-op mod.
Yeah, that exists. But officially, they are working on it.
The rough thing with that is always like the game. It'll always be a game that's like super hard to do co-op for, where like they never planned it originally, and then people want it, and then they try to implement it, and their physics engine just shits all over itself.
I mean, all I want is to have parallel launch pads, and so we have 1 hour to make a spaceship. And we all launch the worst travesties into space and explode at more or less the same time. That's all I want. I don't want to be able to work with my friends. I just want to see them 10 feet away, fucking up just as badly as me, and then we all just laugh about it. Because that's like 90% of
tabletop
Scrap
world,
Mechanic
that game is
for it.
basically Space Trucker. Or Galaxy Trucker, I mean. As far as I can tell,
post a link to the Warframe promo code. Yes, please do, and also tell us how to redeem it.
Like weirdly, Galaxy Trucker was sort of adapted to into a video game, because you're kind of playing that game right now. Your weird like Lego spaceship game.
Yeah, Space Run Galaxy.
That game is very Galaxy Trucker in a lot of ways.
They sent me a press copy of that, but they didn't tell me there was a limit. They're just like, yeah, just play it. So I got to one point, and I'm just like, is that it then? Am I done?
And you ran out of press copy to play, and they didn't warn you about it?
Yeah, there's no like indication that you're done. It's just like, I can't get to the next planet unless I can get to level 7. But there's not enough experience in the game as it is for me to get to level 7.
Reminds me of
so
Rayman Raving Rabbids.
Yeah,
big mistake.
Yeah, I don't like how they limited things, and there's like so few missions you have to repeat them constantly, just to be able to like do half the things, which kind of sucks. But it's like, it's not even early access yet. It's like, here's what we gave to the press to show off, so I can't really complain about it too much. So I just said, I guess my series is on hold until I find more game to play.
The big difference between that game and Galaxy Trucker is that in Galaxy Trucker, you basically don't control your ship. So
Well,
like
you
you'll
don't control yours in this one. You're just slapping down turrets to defend you.
But like, even in that game, your turrets like aim with AI and stuff like that. Whereas Galaxy Trucker is a tabletop game, so it's more like you're putting down tiles, almost like you're building a ship out of Catan tiles, like the hexes or whatever. And you're creating like a series of shield layers and armor layers and like defensive turrets. And like you'll go on your trip and like on your way to your destination, like you'll have meteors striking your ship, and you see if your ship survives from the trajectories of the meteors hitting you based on what you customized. But the messed up twist in that game is that you, when you're building your ships, you do it in multiplayer. And this, I thought about this because you brought up the Kerbal idea of failing together. Is that
Yeah.
you play it competitively, so all of you are building your ships simultaneously. But all of the ship parts are in one giant pool of upside-down tiles, and there's specific rules to how you handle the tiles, where you pick up one tile at a time and flip it over, and you have to physically put it down either on your as a part of your ship or like back in the pile before you can flip over a single other tile. So like it's time and it slows down your process of looking at tiles. And the moment somebody decides that they are finished with their ship, they can flip over they can flip over an hourglass, and everyone else has until the sand runs out to finish their ship. Otherwise, they just have to launch whatever that is. So like you can really fuck with each other by just putting together a ship really quick that you think can make it, and then just like saying, "Haha, you got time limit now, and just deal with this now." And their little nightmares that may or may not even have an engine are just thrown out into space and see how they go on their Galaxy Trucker run.
By the way, can you press P and tell me how many neurodes you have?
I have 2.
Okay, so we can leave whenever we want.
But they can't. None of them can. They're going to be buried here. And their bodies are going to be here in the swamp, which is a low oxygen environment, so their bodies aren't going to decay, and they're going to stay here all blue-skinned for the rest of eternity.
That is one of the creepiest things. Have you ever heard of the Bogmen?
Yeah,
in,
that's literally what I'm talking
like,
about.
Ireland and stuff? Okay. I didn't know if you were like going for a Lord of the Rings reference and bringing us back.
No, I'm a geologist. I'm talking about reality.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I forget that you had like a career
about
before
Pete,
this.
motherfucker.
Some guy named Pete is just like, what?
What you talk about? You don't know
How
my
does it
life.
feel to be named after a sediment deposit? It's probably not the case, but still. I'm calling you that now. Low on oxygen, high in plant material. Ain't got no iron in you.
Mostly you nowadays.
No one will ever know what I'm
Largely
talking about, and I'm okay with this. One person's losing their shit. One person. Like early Tosh point, it's like early Daniel Tosh stand-ups where he would make his joke weirder and weirder until the entire audience stopped laughing.
That's awesome.
That used to be my favorite thing about him, and now he's the guy that just is an asshole on the internet because that's his job. But he used to do all stand-up things where he'd just make his joke, and he'd keep building on the same joke for like 5 minutes straight, and it would just keep getting weirder until everyone stopped reacting to it. And like that was just his like personal joke to himself. Like he was just amusing himself by making, like basically making the audience uncomfortable, like by how far the joke was going, not for like pure offensiveness, but just like, where the fuck is he going with this after like 5 minutes?
Yeah, he changed so much. I thought he was 2 different people.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was bizarre. That's the same guy. He's
Yeah,
so
now
funny
he's a
here,
host.
but not funny here.
Yeah.
You know
Hosting a
who I
show is
really
weird.
miss that
People
kinda did the
become
same
different
thing?
people.
Do you
Don't say
guys
Ray William
know
Johnson.
of or remember Z Frank?
Oh, Zay Frank? Yeah, the show is Zay Frank. I still go back and watch
Yeah.
his Scrabble video.
I still watch his
Oh, well, crap.
It's like, I'm not gonna say it's like a rap
My
thing.
character remembered that they were
I don't even know
mortal.
what it is. But he's got like a litany of
My carrier, no.
new beginnings or something like that. Oh, did you lose your carrier?
Yeah.
Probably time to
Found the
leave then.
biggest,
Yeah.
found the biggest mountain of enemies in the entire level so far.
Let me slowly
I
milk
felt
them
so
for
immortal
resources
this whole
and we
mission
can
so
leave.
far.
Look what we found.
And then bam. Yeah, have you seen the Scrabble video? It's fantastic.
I have not seen the Scrabble video. I only watched like a couple of his like dumb animal ones are amazing.
Oh yeah, those are the relatively new ones. Because he had a show, he had a show back in 2006, and I want to say he had like a Kickstarter to bring it back. And after it came back, it kept getting weirder and weirder, and he kept going more and more off format to the point where he was doing interpretive dance videos and those weird animal videos where he was like, or like a Morgan Freeman video out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And now he's kind of just faded away. Like he just doesn't. I don't think he does anything anymore.
No, he does. He's the
I mean, I don't think his channel does anything anymore.
No, his channel is dead. He's like the CEO of marketing for one of the like big kind of social media, not social media sites, but like kind of the sort of blogger sites that like get a lot of hits for like the dumb viral comics and stuff.
BuzzFeed.
And yeah, I think he might actually be the like guy for marketing at BuzzFeed or that. And so like he's actually doing amazingly well for himself, but it pisses me off because I liked him back when he was
like the show.
It
was like the great animator exodus of 2011.
The bit of content I've seen him create are some called Dear Kitten, which are actually pretty good. But those are like some marketing for some kind of cat food.
I love his eyebrows.
Oops.
There aren't a whole lot of people that when I watch them, I watch like their face. Usually I just get bored, but like his face is just legitimately interesting to watch. And I can't say that about most people. Markiplier actually does the same thing. When Markiplier talks, his face, like the way he moves his face around, it's legitimately interesting to view, which always surprises me. How did I get 233 kills? I was not shooting things.
I got a copy of Flow. Well, do you just AoE kill an accident?
Tenno,
Not really. The entire point of my character is I'm just looting them for giblets.
Whoa, we
And
tied.
using them. Yeah.
That's really specific.
It's really specific, which is why I noticed. I was like, what? I even got kills?
Yeah, I was just lightninging things a lot. It'll hit something, damn it. They can't take them all from me. Not when they're spawning forever.